Yes?
Orgnar, are you listening?
Hard not to.
The ale is going bad. We need to get a new batch. Did you hear me?
Yep, ale's going bad.
I guess you don't have potatoes in your ears after all. Just make sure we get a fresh batch in soon.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Can I get you something?
What have you got for sale?
Take a look. Of course. Mm-hmm.
Aye.
What gods above? I don't have time for this.
I'd like to rent a room.
This is an ode to Skyrim's
Sure thing.
staunch
It's yours for a day.
We bring to our youth to days come and gone. For the age of aggression is just about done.
Yeah?
We'll drive out the storm cloaks and restore what we own. With our blood and our steel, we will take back our home. Down with Ulfric, the killer of kings, on the day of your death, we will drink and we'll sing. We're the children of Skyrim, and we fight all our lives. The Southern Guard beckons, every one of us dies. But this land is ours, and we'll see it wiped clean of the scourge that has sullied our hopes and our dreams. Faendal thinks he can woo Camilla Valerius away from me. She's already mine, I keep telling him.
Can I make a request?
Sure. What can I do for you?
Can you sing Ragnar the Red?
Ah, a fine but bloody tale. I can do that one. Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red who came riding to Whiterun from old Rorikstead. And the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of bold battles and gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink all our mead. Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed." And so then came clashing and slashing of steel as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal. And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor.
You want something?
Yes?
Great. Now I'm gonna have to kill you. Who taught you to fight, huh? Skeever? I'm surprised you've lasted this long. Now hurry up and die! That's your best, huh? So you think you can fight, huh? Let's see what you can do then. Do your worst. Too late to run away now. Go ahead. Try it. Victory is yours. I submit.
pipsqueak like you thinks they can take me on.
Yes?
A new face. And a right ugly one at that. No offense. Here for work? Honest gold for honest work. Hi. You met Camilla yet? Wouldn't mind getting my hands on those trunks. Oh, yes. Now that you mention it, I think... sorry about that. It's not that bad. We work hard. Try to do right by our families. At least the damned war hasn't gotten here. Yet. Got business here in Riverwood, eh? There are worse villages. Woodcutting's my trade. Best log splitter from here to Riften. It's all in the way you hold the axe. Caress it, like any wench, and she'll do you right. Mm-hmm. Good to see. Honest gold for honest work. Farewell, kinsman.
Need something?
Ain't every day we get visitors in Riverwood. You looking for a new blade? The finest weapons and armor. Good day.
Hey, someone had to take it, right?
That's some good armor you put. You want them any bigger, though?
And the blade?
No. We'll need a new one soon.
Welcome. Let me know if you want anything. I think I got a clean mug around here somewhere.
You're that visitor been poking around. Sure thing. It's yours for a day.
Can I get you something? Drink for the thirsty, food for the hungry. All right then.
Faendal thinks he can woo Camilla Val— Sure. What can I do for you? Ah, a fine but bloody tale. I can do that one. Oh, there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red, who came riding to Whiterun from old Rorikstead. And the braggart did swagger and brandish his blade as he told of bold battles and gold he had made. But then he went quiet, did Ragnar the Red, when he met the shield maiden Matilda, who said, "Oh, you talk and you lie and you drink all our mead. Now I think it's high time that you lie down and bleed." And so then came clashing and slashing of steel as the brave lass Matilda charged in full of zeal. And the braggart named Ragnar was boastful no more when his ugly red head rolled around on the floor. "You look like a traveler. Someone that has seen faraway places and heard new stories. It's kind of dark in here.
Yes?
A concise account of the Great War between the Empire and the Oldbury Dominion by Legate Justinus Quintius. Author's note: much of what is written in this book is pieced together from documents captured from the enemy during the war, interrogation of prisoners, and eyewitness accounts from surviving soldiers and imperial officers. I myself commanded the 10th Legion in Hammerfell and Cyrodiil until I was wounded in 175 during the assault on the imperial city. That said, the full truth of some events may never be known. I have done my best to fill in the gaps with educated conjectures based on my experience as well as my hard-earned knowledge of the enemy. The rise of the Thalmor. Although it is not well known, Somerset Isle suffered from the Oblivion Crisis as much as Cyrodiil did. The elves made war upon the Oblivion invaders, occasionally even crossing over to close down Oblivion gates. As a nation they had more successes than Cyrodiil did, although the limitless Daedric hordes made the outcome a foregone conclusion. The Thalmor had always been a powerful faction within Somerset Isle, but had also always been a minority voice. During the crisis, the Crystal Tower was forced to give the Thalmor greater power and authority. Their efforts almost certainly saved Somerset Isle from being overrun. They capitalized on their success to seize total control, and for 22 they renamed the nation Alinor, which harkens back to an earlier age before the ascendancy of man. Most people outside of the Oldbury Dominion still call it Somerset Isle, either out of peevishness or ignorance. In 329, the government of Valenwold was overthrown by Thalmor collaborators, and a union with Alinor proclaimed. It appears that Thalmor agents had formed close ties to certain Bosmeri factions even before the Oblivion Crisis. The Empire and its Bosmer allies caught completely off guard, were quickly defeated by the much better prepared Ultimate forces had invaded Valenwood on the heels of the coup. Thus was the Aldmeri Dominion reborn. Shortly afterward, the Aldmeri Dominion severed all contact with the Empire. For 70 years they were silent. Most scholars believe there was some sort of internal strife in Aliner, but very little is known of the factional struggles that went on inside the Dominion, while the Thalmor consolidated its power in Somerset and Valenwood. In 398, the two moons, Masser and Secunda, vanished. Within most of the Empire, this was viewed with trepidation and fear. In elsewhere it was far worse. Culturally, the moons are much more influential to the Khajiit. After 2 years of the void nights, the moons return. The Thalmor announced that they had restored the moons using previously unknown dawn magics, but it is unclear if they truly restored the moons or just took advantage of foreknowledge that they would return. Regardless of the truth of the matter, the Khajiit credited the Thalmor as their saviors. Within 15 years, imperial influence in elsewhere had so diminished that the Empire was unable to respond effectively to the coup of 115, which dissolved the Elsewhere Confederacy and recreated the ancient kingdoms of Anaquina and Palatine as client states of the Aldmeri Dominion. Once more the Empire failed to stop the advance of Thamur power. When Titus Mede ascended the throne in 168, he inherited a weakened empire. The glory days of the Septums were a distant memory. Valenwood and elsewhere were gone, ceded to the Thalmor enemy. Black Marsh had been lost to imperial rule since the aftermath of the Oblivion Crisis. Morrowind had never recovered fully from the eruption of Mount Vardenfell. Hammerfell was plagued by infighting between crowns and forebears. Only High Rock, Cyrodiil, and Skyrim remained prosperous and peaceful. Emperor Titus Mede had only a few short years to consolidate his rule before his leadership was put to the ultimate test. The war begins. The Thalmor ambassador appended the cart, spilling over 100 heads on the floor, every Blades agent in Somerset and Valenwood. And so began the great war which would consume the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion for the next 5 years. Within days, Aldmeri armies invaded Hammerfell and Cyrodiil simultaneously. A strong force commanded by the Thalmor general Lord Narifin attacked Cyrodiil from the south, marching out of hidden camps in northern Elsewhere and flanking the imperial defenses along the Valenwood border. Leowyn soon fell to the invaders, while Bravel was cut off and besieged. At the same time, an Aldmeri army under Lady Aranlia crossed into western Cyrodiil from Valenwood, bypassing Anvil and Kvatch and crossing into Hammerfell. Smaller Aldmeri forces landed along the southern coastline of Hammerfell. The disunited Red Guard forces offered only scattered resistance to the invaders, and much of the southern coastline was quickly overrun. The greatly outnumbered imperial legions retreated across the Alakir Desert in the now famous March of Thirst. For 170 to 173, the Aldmeri advance into Cyrodiil. It appears now that the initial Aldmeri objective was in fact the conquest of Hammerfell, and that the invasion of Cyrodiil was intended only to pin down the imperial legions while Hammerfell was overrun. However, the surprising initial success of Lord Narifan's attack led the Thalmor to believe that the Empire was weaker than they had thought. The capture of the Imperial city itself and the complete overthrow of the Empire thus became their primary objective of the next 2 years. As we know, the Thalmor nearly achieved their objective. It was only because of our Emperor's determined leadership during the Empire's darkest hour that this disaster was averted. During Free 172, the Oldbury advanced deeper into Cyrodiil. Bravel and Anvil both fell to the invaders. By the end of the year, Lord Narifan had advanced to the very walls of the imperial city. There were fierce naval clashes in Lake Rumari and along the Niben as the imperial forces attempted to hold the eastern bank. In Hammerfall, the Thalmor were content to consolidate their gains as they took control of the whole southern coastline, which was in fact their stated objective in the ultimatum delivered to the Emperor. Of the southern cities, only Hegeth still held out. The survivors of the March of Thirst regrouped in northern Hammerfall, joined by reinforcements from High Rock. The year for 173 saw stiffening imperial resistance in Cyrodiil, but the seemingly inexorable Aldmeri advance continued. Fresh legions from Skyrim bolstered the Emperor's Bane army in the imperial city, but the Aldmeri forced the crossing of the Niben and began advancing in force up the eastern bank. By the end of the year, the imperial city was surrounded on 3 sides. Only the northern supply route to Brummer remained open. In Hammerfall, imperial fortunes took a turn for the better. In early Free 173, a forebear army from Sentinel broke the siege of Hegeth, a crown city, leading to the reconciliation of the 2 factions. Despite this, Lady Aranlia's main army succeeded in crossing the Alikur Desert. The imperial legions under General Dicianus met them outside Skaven in a bloody and indecisive clash. Dicianus withdrew, had left Aranlia in possession of Skaven, but the Aldmeri were to weaken to continue their advance. Free 174, the sack of the imperial city. In Free 174, the Thalmor leadership committed all available forces to the campaign in Cyrodiil, gambling on a decisive victory to end the war once and for all. During the spring, Aldmeri reinforcements gathered in southern Cyrodiil, and on 12th of 2nd Seed, they launched a massive assault on the imperial city itself. One army drove north to completely surround the city, while Lord Narifan's main force attacked the walls from the south, east, and west. The Emperor's decision to fight his way out of the city rather than make a last stand was a bold one. No general dared advise him to abandon the capital, but Titus II was proven right in the end. While the 8th Legion fought a desperate and doomed rearguard action on the walls of the city, Titus broke out of the city to the north with his main army smashing through the surrounding the Aldmeri forces and linking up with reinforcements marching south from Skyrim under General Jana. Meanwhile, however, the capital fell to the invaders, and the infamous sack of the imperial city began. The imperial palace was burned, the white gold tower itself looted, and all manner of atrocities carried out by the vengeful elves on the innocent populace. In Hammerfall, General Dicianus was preparing to drive the Aldmeri back from Skaven when he was ordered to march for Cyrodiil. Unwilling to abandon Hammerfall completely, he allowed a great number of invalids to be discharged from the legions before they march east. These veterans form the core of the army that eventually drove Lady Aranlia's forces back across the Alik'r late in 174, taking heavy losses on their retreat from harassing attacks by the Alik'r warriors. For 175, the Battle of the Red Ring. During the winter of 174 to 175, the Thalmor seemed to have believed that the war in Cyrodiil was all but over. They made several attempts to negotiate with Titus II. The emperor encouraged them in their belief that he was preparing to surrender. Meanwhile, he gathered his forces to retake the imperial city in what is now known as the Battle of the Red Ring, a battle that will serve as a model for imperial strategists for generations to come. Titus II divided his forces into three. One army, with the legions from Hammerfall under General Dicinus, was hidden in the Colovian highlands near Coral. The Aldmeri were unaware that he was no longer in Hammerfall, possibly because the imperial veterans Dicinus had left behind led Lady Aranlia to believe that she still faced an imperial army. The second army, largely of Nod legions under General Chana, took up position near Cheydinhal. The main army was commanded by the emperor himself and would undertake the main assault of the imperial city from the north. On the 30th of Rain's Hand, the bloody Battle of the Red Ring began as General Dicinus swept down on the city from the west, while General Janna's legionnaires rode south along the Red Ring Road in a 2-day assault. Janna's army crossed the Niben and advanced west, attempting to link up with Dicinus's legions and thus surround the imperial city. Lord Narefan was taken by surprise by Dicinus's assault, but Janna's troops faced bitter resistance as the Aldmeri counterattacked from Bravil and Skingrad. The heroic Nod legionnaires held firm, however, beating off the piecemeal Aldmeri attacks. By the 5th day of the battle, the Aldmeri army in the imperial city was surrounded. Titus II led the assault from the north, personally capturing Lord Narefan. It is rumored the emperor wielded the famed Sword Goldbrand, although this has never been officially confirmed by the imperial government. An attempt by the Aldmeri to break out of the city to the south was blocked by the unbreakable shield wall of General Janna's battered legions. In the end, the main Aldmeri army in Cyrodiil was completely destroyed. The emperor's decision to withdraw from the imperial city in 174 was bloodily vindicated. Lord Narefan was kept alive for 33 days, hanging from the White Gold Tower. It is not recorded where his body was buried, if it was buried at all. One source claims he was carried off by Wing Dedra on the 34th day. The White Gold Concordat and the end of the war. Although victorious, the imperial armies were in no shape to continue the war. The entire remaining imperial force was gathered in Cyrodiil, exhausted and decimated by the Battle of the Red Ring. Not a single legion had more than half its soldiers fit for duty. 2 legions had been effectively annihilated, not counting the loss of the 8th during the retreat from the imperial city the previous year. Titus II knew that there would be no better time to negotiate peace. And late in 175 the Empire and the Aldmeri Dominion signed the White Gold Concordat, ending the Great War. The terms were harsh, but Titus II believed Yet it was necessary to secure peace and give the empire a chance to regain strength. The two most controversial terms of the Concordat were the banning of the worship of Talos and the cession of a large section of southern Hammerfall, most of what was already occupied by Aldbury forces. Critics have pointed out that the Concordat is almost identical to the ultimatum the Emperor rejected 5 years earlier. However, there is a great difference between agreeing to such terms under the mere threat of war and agreeing to them at the end of a long and destructive war. No part of the Empire would have accepted these terms in 171, dictated by the Thalmor at Swords Point. Titus II would have faced civil war. By 175, most of the Empire welcomed peace at almost any price. Epilogue. Hammerfall fights on alone. Hammerfall, however, refused to accept the White Gold Concordat, being unwilling to concede defeat and the loss of so much of their territory. Titus II was forced to officially renounce Hammerfall as an imperial province in order to preserve the hard-won peace treaty. The Red Guards, understandably, looked on this as a betrayal. In this, the Thalmor certainly achieved one of their long-term goals by sowing lasting bitterness between Hammerfall and the Empire. In the end, the heroic Red Guards fought the Aldbury Dominion to a standstill, although the war lasted for 5 more years and left southern Hammerfall devastated. The Red Guards say that this proves that the White Gold Concordat was unnecessary, and that if Titus II had kept his nerve, the Aldbury would have been truly defeated by the combined forces of Hammerfall and the rest of the Empire. The truth of that assertion can, of course, never be known, but the Red Guards should not forget the great sacrifice of imperial blood, Breton, Nod, and Cyrodiilic, at the Battle of the Red Ring that weakened the Dominion enough to allow the eventual Second Treaty of Strozmkai in 180 and the withdrawal of Aldbury forces from Hammerfall. There can be no doubt that the current peace cannot last forever. The Thalmor take the long view, as is proved by the sequence of events leading up to the Great War. All those who value freedom over tyranny can only hope that before it is too late, Hammerfall and the Empire will be reconciled and stand united against the Thalmor threat. Otherwise, any hope to stem the tide of Thalmor rule over all of Tamriel is dimmed.
We got rooms and food. Drink, too. I cook. Of course. Mm-hmm.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. Let's see here. I have a letter here for you. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
I have heard about your accomplishments, and I've been watching you for quite some time now. I believe that you have a particular skill set which will lead to success where so many others have failed. I need a third party handle matters which I cannot be seen to be involved in. You can, of course, refuse to help, but I believe satisfying your curiosity is enough incentive for you to investigate some bizarre vampire rumors. If you are interested, travel to an abandoned den in the mountains just south of Knife Point Ridge. What you discover there will be worth the journey, I assure you.